Uğur abi yavaş gel dedim. Artık ayarlayacağız seramiği.
Kaç kişi var acaba onda?
45 fulldü çünkü. Evet.
So after just continue from this place to the other side, not that it was a whole swing straight down. By the way, we have a very good picture spot up here. Let's go up there, take a few photos.
Cool, look at that.
These are Greek vines.
I want to get a photograph or two of that, John, and you can do the picture when you get...
Terrace. Pardon.
So, by the way, you remember if you see one individuals was very handsome, very strong, he had a bad temper. Once he got so was with children.
Okay. Could you come closer? Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, you will see the beautiful view of the Ephesus from here again, and you can take your best pictures of the city from this way. The main road, second main road in Ephesus city here is called as an Terrace or Terrace. Terrace means handsome young boys, ladies and gentlemen. And end of the road, you see two-storied building over there. This is Celsius Library, not Celsius. The temperature is it's Celsius, the name of the governor, Celsius Ptolemaios, and the third biggest library in the world. It is over there, ladies and gentlemen. So best pictures of the city from here. So this is the social part of the city, and the social part of the city starting with the gate of the Hercules or Heracles. You know him, god of power, very strong man in mythology, Hercules. So just behind you, ladies and gentlemen, you see two pillars over there with the relief of Hercules or Heracles over there with a lion, his relief, you see. It's very narrow gate, ladies and gentlemen, because in that time, official part of the city was closed to the traffic. Just the social part of the city was open to the traffic. So in those days, people were not allowed to go to the official part with their horses or chariots. Just they were allowed to come to this gate in those days. Okay, it's very narrow gate. This is the reason. And in those days, they believed if they open their arms, if they touch these two pillars, ladies and gentlemen, like this, they will be strong. They will be very powerful because of the Hercules over there. So now, may I have your attention, please? I'm gonna give you very interesting information about Alexander the Great. It's quite interesting actually, because look at this side again, please. You see this road colonnaded by columns, and on both sides of the road there were shops, ladies and gentlemen, in those days. Imagine this road like Champs-Élysées in those days. So again, best place for ladies, I would say, because the leather shop or the gold shops were here. Even the spicy shops were here in those days. Here is not well preserved. You don't see the example of the shops here, but later I'll show you mosaics and the well preserved shops later. So both sides of the road was close to the closed or covered with a roof in those days to protect people from sun or rain. Of course, both sides was close to the closed with the roof in that time. So now on the right hand side here, you're gonna see pedestals, ladies and gentlemen, and imagine all these pedestals with statues like this. Here, this is an headless statue, ladies and gentlemen. The reason of the headless statues, actually we have two different stories about the headless statues. The first one, Arabs, because Arabs, when they conquered our country, as the first thing, they cut the heads of the statues in that time, because in the Christian statues, there was a cross on the four heads of the statues, so they cut the heads off. And in that time, we have museum in the Ephesus museum, two different rooms with the statues statues had, ladies and gentlemen. So all the statues in Ephesus city had the statues. This is the first story. And the second one, the most fragile part of the statue's neck, ladies and gentlemen. This is the other story. We don't know actually which one is true. But definitely Arabs, when they came to here, they destroyed the heads of the statues, ladies and gentlemen. And this is belonged to a doctor. He was a famous doctor, and on his pedestal, actually in every pedestals, you're gonna see the Greek letters, Greek writings here, and it is written here, Alexandros from Alexandria. So Alexandria is the biggest Roman city in the world in Egypt. So he was from there, and he lived in Ephesus city. So Ephesians, just for honor, they built his statue and they put it here. So now, Alexander the Great. This is the interesting information. Alexander the Great, ladies and gentlemen, he was deeply interested in handsome young boys in those days. So during the reign of Alexander the Great, he put all his boyfriend statues to the right side. So imagine the pedestals on this side of the road with the statues of the Alexander's boyfriend. Later on, when the Romans conquered the city, they have changed all these statues because they put the statues of the important people, such as governors, doctors, politicians, or the others, of course. So this is the example of a Roman city statue, because during the Romans, they built this statue and they put it here, okay? So all the marbles in this road, on this road, origin road, well preserved and very beautiful road, or second main of the road, second main road of the city you will see today. And the cats. Roman cats. So everywhere, ladies and gentlemen, you can see the cats and the dogs in Ephesus city. They are wild cats and the dogs, so don't touch them, please, okay? They're living here, I will say, just wild cats, so they must hunt, but sometimes we bring food for them to here, because of this they are waiting here for food, always. Posing for a picture for you. So here you are, please, follow me.
Leave it at church, so you wash your hands.
See the fountain of Trajan, or Trajanus fountain, just behind you here. This was the biggest fountain in Ephesus city. In the 2nd century AD, it was built and dedicated to the Emperor Trajan. On the facade of the building, you will see composite-style columns. At the beginning, in the official part, you saw the Doric, Ionic, and Corinthians, and this is the mixed one, so composite style. So you see flowers and the eggs over there. So it was colonnaded by columns in that time, and between two columns, there were statues of the Emperor Trajan's family. His mother, father, son, those statues were here in those days. But in the middle, there was a huge statue of Trajan in those days, and he was standing like this. On his feet, there was a small, there was a bowl, like a round shape in that time. Let's look at the fountain one more time. In the middle of the fountain, you see the round shape over there, and on the right side of the round shape, you will see the left foot of the Trajan statue. So he was standing there, ladies and gentlemen. And now, in Ephesus books or in internet, on postcards, you will see the same fountain, and you will read this information later. They know the world shape as a globe in those days. Because of this, they put a ball under his feet, and he wanted to say, world is under my control, or world is under my feet, ladies and gentlemen. But this is, actually, it's complicated, I can say, because we can say the famous philosophers lived in Ephesus city, in the world also the famous philosophers lived. So according to them, world shape flat. So it's not possible to know world shape as a globe in those days. But why they put a ball under his foot, God knows. Maybe he was not a famous footballer. Like Beckham. I don't know. But it's not for the world shape, okay? It's not for the world shape. And the statue of the Trajan, not in this museum, not in Turkey. It's presented in Berlin Museum, ladies and gentlemen. But we are lucky because we have the livelihood of the statue over there, still we have there. And they use this water for drinking, of course, but sometimes they used it to clean the streets in that time. This was the biggest fountain. So now we will see the shops and the mosaics. Please follow me from this way. I'm going to show you the terrace houses here, and or we can say the rich houses. Only rich people could afford to stay in these places because they were constructed with the highest standards of their day. But before the rich houses, let's look at this side. You're going to see an example of the shops here. So imagine now, both sides of the road on both sides of the road there were shops, and they colonnaded by columns, and from columns to the shops this area was covered with a roof in those days. And in front of the shops you're gonna see the mosaics here. Okay, these are the example of the mosaics, colorful, and each shop has their own mosaics in those days. And these shops for gold, for leather, for spicy shops of course, and the mostly shops were two-storied in that time. And the rich houses, ladies and gentlemen, please look at this side. You're going to see a place covered with a roof, that area. So this is the rich houses or terrace houses or villas, we can say, ladies and gentlemen. And only rich people stayed there because these houses were very beautiful. And you see Ephesus location between two mountains. So rich people houses always on this side of the mountain because this mountain with sea view, harbor view, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing changes. Nothing changes, I can say, because the poor people houses was on this mountain especially, because this mountain without sea view and this mountain with sea view. They were rich because, ladies and gentlemen. But now, this place is not included with your excursion like the other groups in Ephesus city, because whole year excavations are going on there, on that area. You're gonna see the entrance of the rich houses in front of that building, and it is extra, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to go, you can go and you can visit it, of course, but it is 15 lira, 15 Turkish lira for one. If you go there, what you will see? You're gonna see 7 different rich houses there, and on the wall of the houses you will see beautiful frescoes and the colorful frescoes, and on the floor you will see mosaics, ladies and gentlemen, like this. But these mosaics in the rich houses well preserved and very colorful, ladies and gentlemen, shining, because no illuminating system in those days. Imagine. To lightening the streets, they used torch or torches, but in their houses, all the houses had a small window, so only light was coming from that window, so most of the rooms were dim in those days, without sunlight. Well-preserved frescoes and the mosaics you can see there. They were rich, they had their own hot water, cold water, heating system, which is called an hypercast or hypercast system, ladies and gentlemen, in the rich houses. And again, they had their own toilets, ladies and gentlemen. We will see public toilets or latrines later, but in every rich houses you can see their toilets in this place. It's up to you. If you want to go, you can go and you can visit it. Now, Hadrian Temple. You know the Hadrian on the border, Scotland and England? Hadrian walls, yes, the same emperor, ladies and gentlemen. Same emperor came to Ephesus city and he lived here. And as just for honor again, Ephesians built his temple and dedicated to him. You will see Hadrian Temple and the Medusa. You know Medusa, snake, hair. There were 3 sisters in mythology. So who looked her eyes? They turned into a stone in those days in mythology. So you will see Hadrian Temple and the Medusa now. Please follow me from this way. I'll show it to you now. Okay. This is the Temple of Hadrian. In the 2nd century AD, again, it was built and dedicated to him. On the facade of this building, you see 4 Corinthian-style columns, but between 2 columns, in the middle of the arch, on the keystone, you see a statue over there? On the keystone, this is Tyche, ladies and gentlemen, or Tyche. And this is evil eye. Do you know evil eye in our country? To keep the bad eyes away, we use it, ladies and gentlemen. Especially on babies, we use it. to protect you from the bad eyes, or it's for good luck, ladies and gentlemen. So it's very old tradition in our country from the Greeks. So in Greece, in Turkey, in Samos, everywhere you will see the same evil eyes. Okay, this is evil eye. So her eyes with evil eye, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tyche or Fortuna. She was the goddess of good luck or fortune in those days. So her eyes evil eye, and this tradition is coming from Tyche. So now inside the temple, above the door, you see the second statue over there, like curly hair. You see it? This is Medusa, ladies and gentlemen. There were three sisters in mythology, as I say to you. Especially they used Medusa on graves, on the sarcophagus. It is the hardest word in English for me, ladies and gentlemen. Sarcophagus-style graves. Why? Because they believed life after death, so they buried together with their gold, so jewelry and all this. To prevent a robbery or robber, they used the Medusa on graves to scare the people. But to respect to this temple, you see the Medusa at the top. On both sides of the Medusa, you're gonna see two friezes with small statues. Remember, two different stories I told to you about the foundation of the city, Amazons and the fish, wild boar and the Greeks, remember, Androplos. So these stories are depicting on the right side of the friezes. You see the soldiers and the Androplos over here. And on the left hand side, you see the other small statues belong to the gods and goddesses. Okay? Dionysus, Artemis, or Apollo, or the others. So on the door, you see the egg means fertility, egg. The most interesting place in Ephesus city, latrines or toilets. So please come with me, we will see it now. Could you come closer, ladies and gentlemen? Because I want to give you information, or let me give you information about the latrines here, and then just we will go in and you will take your pictures. Okay, it's better for you because the other groups will come now. So always long queues for the toilets, always. So it will be busy. So here, just a few minutes, give me a time. Latrines or toilets you will see, but this is the toilet for men, ladies and gentlemen. So where is the ladies' toilet in Ephesus?
Furthest point away.
Bushes maybe, or mountain, or under the tree, I don't know. But this is just for men, okay? And according to archaeologists, there are 7 or 8 more toilets in Ephesus. Maybe the others belong to ladies, but this is just for men. 44 different holes you will see, like a keyhole, side by side, no separation, no privacy, ladies and gentlemen. And just the marbles original, the rest not original. In the middle of the toilet, you will see a small pool with the columns. Just for decoration, ladies and gentlemen, there was a pool in the middle of the toilet in that time. So, in front of the holes, you will see a channel, and this channel for clean water, for fresh water, and they were sealing the holes, and they were taking the water from the channel with their left hands, because left hand for cleaning, and the right hand for what? Eating. One more, shaking. So for shaking and the eating right hand, but the left hand for cleaning, definitely. Maybe later, they used a stick with a sponge, ladies and gentlemen. So now, imagine. The first man here, he is sitting and he is starting to clean himself, first hole and the first man. You can't imagine the last man, ladies and gentlemen. So same channel and the same water they used. So it was a little bit dirty, ladies and gentlemen. And they were actually very clever people, Romans and the Greeks. They were very good in architecture, also in art. But the channel, the water in channel, they say fresh and the clean water, it was a little bit dirty because they used the same channel and the same water. If you look at the holes, you will see very deep channels, drain channels in Ephesus today. It is possible to see from here up to the sea, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. The other information about the toilets, marbles, ladies and gentlemen, because if you touch the marbles, you feel it's very cool marbles now. A little bit cold actually. Even in August and July, the marbles very cold, ladies and gentlemen. Very cool marbles we have. And 45, 50 degrees we have in Ephesus city in August especially. So how they warm up the marbles in those days? It's very easy to say for poor people because they used probably leather, goat skin or sheep skin to warm up the marbles. But about the rich people, they were rich, ladies and gentlemen, again. So they had their own slaves, 50,000 slave population for the city, as I said to you. So all every rich people, I can say, had their own slaves. So rich men, when they want to go to the toilet, they sent their slaves, but to warm up the seats, ladies and gentlemen. And then later they came here and they relaxed in the toilet, maybe with a newspaper later, I don't know. But definitely they used their slaves to warm up the marbles in those days, okay? So now, after this group, yes, we can go now. And you will see the holes in the toilet. You can take your pictures. And the mosaics, ladies and gentlemen,